Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, and today, this might be one of the most important videos I've made in a very long time. You see, the 3DS eShop is shutting down. It is shutting down soon. It is going to be unavailable. And that is going to really impact you if you are a Pokemon fan. So the point of this video, very simply, is the Pokemon games that you need to go and get from the 3DS eShop before it's too late. Now, in terms of too late, let me be clear about this. This is all on the official Nintendo website. As of May the 23rd, it will no longer be possible to use a credit card to add funds to an account in the Nintendo eShop. It is already too late to just make purchases directly in the eShop. As of August the 29th, it will no longer be possible to use a Nintendo eShop card to add funds. And I'm not going to go through any here, but I have seen some deals around that are giving kind of like 10% off some of these eShop cards. If you can find any of them, they are pretty gosh darn cool. So the question becomes, which Pokemon games are out there and which ones do you need to pick up? And this is where things get a little bit weird, because I could tell you about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They are phenomenal games. They are absolutely amazing, and you should play them if you haven't already. They're remakes of Gen 3. They are stunning. I cannot recommend them highly enough. Do I think you should be buying these on the Nintendo eShop? No. Now, I'm going to be using UK prices here, but the US is fairly similar. It's just easier for me to use the UK prices as examples. I know the shop's better, etc. Because right now, I can go and buy Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire on the eShop for 40 quid, which is what they should be. That is how much they should cost. The thing is, as it stands at the moment, I can go and buy those games secondhand, physical copies, for cheaper. I can pick, now not a huge amount cheaper admittedly, but I can pick them up for like 32 quid each. It's not a stunning difference, but it is still a little bit cheaper, and for that reason, I can't really recommend you go and pick them up on the eShop. Generally speaking, I would rather have these as physical games from a collector's standpoint, because I don't lose them when I lose my 3DS, etc. So I don't think they're worth going to download. And we could say the exact same thing about Pokemon X and Y. I can go and pick them up on the eShop right now for 40 quid, which is the RRP, or I could go and pick them up at CEX over in the UK. That's the price I'm using for secondhand games. They are honestly pretty, if you're buying secondhand video games in the UK, they're probably one of the ones you're using. And I can go and pick them up for 30 quid or 28, depending on whether I want X or Y. So these games, there's no real point picking them up on the eShop now, because you can pick up secondhand copies of them a little bit cheaper. And this keeps going for a whole bunch of games. Detective Pikachu, cool game, but I can go and spend 35 quid picking it up on the eShop, or I can go and spend 18 quid picking it up in CEX. So there's no reason to download that. I can get a physical copy a fair bit cheaper. So essentially, which ones are we going for? And they are games we cannot get cheaper and games we cannot get anywhere else. And let's start there, because there are some download-only Pokemon games which you can download on the 3DS eShop, and that's it. You go and download them, or you don't. And if you don't download them, they are going to go away forever. And there are basically 3 of these that fit the bill. The first one of which is Pokemon Dream Radar. Now, this is actually the game that gave us Professor Burnett, which if you're a TCG player, you know, probably familiar with. And essentially, it's an AR game where you're catching Pokemon by moving your 3DS around. It's quite a simple game. It was where we originally got the Fairy forms of some of these Pokemon. And it's like super cheap. Like proper job, super over the top cheap. This one, if you're going to buy any games on the 3DS, this one it's £2.69 in the UK. And it's very much kind of like a short, gimmicky kind of game, but it's still a unique Pokemon game, which you're not going to be finding elsewhere, and is going to go away when the 3DS eShop goes away, so this is one that I would highly recommend. Similarly, Pokemon Picross. Now, this is a weird kind of game, because this is free. Kind of. Now, like all free games, it's not actually free, Because, well, I mean, you can play it for free, don't get me wrong, but you can also spend money for, you know, your microtransactions and such. One of the things I do really like about Pokemon Picross, there is actually a limit to how much money you can spend on the game, which I do very much appreciate. I think that is a really nice little touch. But we got over 300 puzzles. If you played Picross, you know what you're looking for here. It's that, but for Pokemon. And there's quite a lot more to it. But my point is, it's Pokemon Picross. It is exactly what it says on the tin, and it's only available on the 3DS. And when it goes away, by which I mean the 3DS eShop, it's going to be gone forever, which is genuinely a little bit upsetting. So this is another one that I think, and again, you can play it for free, although if you don't spend any money, you've got the usual annoyances that come with it, but it is still a fun Pokemon game, a unique Pokemon game that cannot be found anywhere else. And then the final one you've got here is Pokemon Battle Chose or Pokemon Link Battle, depending on how you actually, well, depending on where you are, because it's got different names in different regions. And I am absolutely delighted to say this is not a free game, but it's quite a cheap game. It's £7.19 in the UK. And this is a really big deal because it means it doesn't have the garbage microtransactions that often ruin games like this. This is actually a sequel to a game that came out on the DS, which is a really cool game. It's a nice little puzzle game. It really is kind of as simple as that. And there's a lot more to it. I'm not going to go through an exhaustive how-to for every game. We haven't got time for that in this video. But my point is, it is a fun puzzle game. It's one that I would recommend very highly indeed. It's only on the 3DS. You're not going to be able to find it anywhere else. And it's not a free game, but it's a cheap game, which means you don't have to spend much money, but it is a puzzle game that will just let you play, which is becoming rarer and rarer these days. So Pokemon Dream Radar, Pokemon Battle Chose, and Pokemon Picross, those are the three which are download-only games on the 3DS that you have to pick up right now. Well, not right now, you know, I gave you the dates at the beginning of the video, but you have to pick up soon or you're going to lose them. But there are also a bunch of virtual console games which I think you need to be looking at as well. Now, if we go back to Gen 1, obviously you've got Red, Blue, and Yellow, which are all available on the system. I mean, Yellow's the best of them. Yellow is the final version, the third version, the better version of them. It's £9. That's what you're paying in the UK, and it's going to be about the equivalent thereof in the US. But the point I'm making here is that these Gen 1 games are actually getting kind of awkward. Even if you buy Gen 1 cartridges and play them in an actual Game Boy, those batteries are starting to run low. A lot of the time, you either have to buy them with a battery already changed, or you're going to find that they don't save. Whereas downloading them means that you can save. And I think you've got like a ×2 speed and all you can use there as well. If you want to play the original Gen 1 games, and if you haven't, I would highly recommend it. This is the best place to play them. I have a 3DS with all of the Gen 1, and we'll get to in a minute, Gen 2 games downloaded onto them. And I've had them for a while, because I don't want to be left not being able to play them. Sure, I've got a cartridge of Pokemon Blue from when Pokemon Blue first came out, and I haven't tested it in a while, but that battery is not going to last forever. And then we could say a very similar kind of thing about Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. They are all available. Get Pokemon Crystal. Now, I'm not saying don't get the others, but I absolutely am saying that Pokemon Crystal is the third version. It is very much the best of the three. So if you want to be picking one of these up, Pokemon Crystal is the one that you want to be picking up. It is very much the superior version of them. It is the pinnacle of Gen 2. And I know we've got remakes of Gen 2. Incidentally, as a bit of a side note, it is very sad, but the DS Pokemon games, things like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, things like Black and White 2, games we would love to have on the virtual console, we'd love to download on 3DS, they're not there. Which sucks, because those games are not cheap. You cannot pick them up for less than retail secondhand, which is rubbish. but unfortunately it's the way it is. I'm only covering the games here that you can catch on the Virtual Console. So I think picking up Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Crystal for your Gen 1 and Gen 2 goodness is a really good idea. And if you found your way to this channel, you may well have an interest in the Pokemon TCG, and I cannot tell you enough the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color. If you only pick up one game on this list and you have even a passing interest in the TCG, pick up that one. I cannot recommend this game highly enough. I have 2 cartridges of this game. One from way back in the day and one that I bought because I lent the cart to someone and then wanted to play it again. And I've also downloaded it on the 3DS. This is phenomenal. It's basically very much like an old school Pokemon game, but instead of battling its cards, and it's got the first few sets, and you make actual decks from actual old cards and go and battle NPCs. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. If you want to experience old school Pokemon TCG, this is the best place to go and do it. This is my favourite game on the entire list. So going to Virtual Console then, we've got the Pokemon trading card game, we've got Pokemon Crystal, and we've got Pokemon Yellow. And I really do think that, those half dozen games I've told you so far, they're the ones that you need. I ain't saying don't go and download Pokemon Art Academy. You may love Pokemon Art Academy. You may want to go and get it, in which case, absolutely do. It's one that I've been meaning to try out for a little while. But the fact of the matter is, I can go and pick it up for 30 quid on the eShop, or I can go and pick it up for 18 quid in CEX. So if I want to play Pokemon Art Academy, and there's a very good chance that at some point in the future I will, I'm just going to go and pick up a cheap second-hand copy. Now, there is every possibility that some of these games become more expensive when you can't go and download them. I can't make those predictions, but what I'll tell you is, if you really want to pick up a game like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, don't leave it several years, because they might not be available forever at a decent price. Pick them up now while it's cheaper than downloading them. I have, and I feel good about that decision. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There are actually a lot of Pokemon games that are available on the 3DS that you can go and download now. But for me, it really is those free games on the Virtual Console and those free download-only games that I really do think should be your priority. That does not mean that you shouldn't go and download a whole bunch of other games that you really like. But I've been having a dig around this morning, having a look at this, planning this video, and every time I come to another 3DS game that I want, I can just pick up a second-hand version of it a little bit cheaper. I made a video about Pokemon Rumble the other day, and that has made me really want to pick up a Pokemon Rumble game. But the fact of the matter is, I can pick up Super Pokemon Rumble on the 3DS for literally a tenner. And for what it's worth, I'm going to go out tomorrow, and I'm going to go and do exactly that. Or I can download Super Pokemon Rumble for 4 times the price. I'm not saying don't, but I am saying if you want Super Pokemon Rumble, it is cheaper to find it elsewhere. Although, while we're here with Pokemon Rumble World is free on the 3DS if you download it, and is then full of microtransactions. I've not played it, so I cannot say how egregious they are. This can be picked up second-hand as a cartridge for pretty cheap, like, CX is selling it for 18 quid right now. So that kind of gives you a weird choice whereby you can either just download the free version and deal with it, or you can go and buy the second-hand version nice and cheap, and then you can just have the whole game and not worry about microtransactions. That, ladies and gentlemen, is very much up to you. So there we go, the full list as a whole, just to be clear, it's only 6 games I think absolutely must be picked up. On the Virtual Console, you got Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal, and the Pokemon Trading Card game. And 3DS download-only games, you got Pokemon Dream Radar, Pokemon Battle Trozei, or Pokemon Link Battle, depending on which region you're in, and Pokemon Picross. There we go! There's the Pokemon games. And I don't like making these kind of videos because now all I want to do is go and play like 20 different Pokemon spin-offs, and I don't have time. Also, as a side note, I've not done a video for Wii U Pokemon games you need to download before the service gets kicked off. But if you want that video, let me know in the comment section. And if this video does well enough, I will go and do that video. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know which Pokemon games you're going to be picking up on the 3DS before it all shuts down. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.